Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, chose the wrong victim. A serial killer once broke into homes so often people were scared to sleep at night. But one victim changed everything. Richard Ramirez, also called the Night Stalker, thought fear made him powerful. Every night he entered random houses across California, attacking families while they slept. And for months, police had no idea where he would strike next. News channels warned people to lock every window because Ramirez could appear literally anywhere. The fear became so massive that gun stores started selling out across the city. But Ramirez made one mistake that completely destroyed him. One night he entered a house expecting another terrified victim. Instead, a man instantly fought back. Ramirez wasn't expecting resistance. The victim grabbed a weapon and attacked him so aggressively that Ramirez panicked and ran away injured. And that was the beginning of the end. Only days later, newspapers released Ramirez's face everywhere. Suddenly, normal people started recognizing him in public. Then, everything collapsed at once. Ramirez tried stealing a car to escape Los Angeles, but civilians spotted him immediately. A crowd started chasing him through the streets while people screamed, "That's the Night Stalker." He tried running, jumping fences, hiding, but angry citizens kept catching up. One man hit him with a metal bar. Another dragged him to the ground. By the time police arrived, the serial killer who terrified an entire city was bleeding, surrounded, and begging for help from the same public he once hunted. The most shocking part is that Ramirez survived years avoiding detectives, helicopters, and massive police investigations, but lost because ordinary people finally stopped being afraid. The killer who entered homes looking for helpless victims accidentally chose a city that eventually fought back. Jeffrey Dahmer, the victim who escaped. Jeffrey Dahmer invited victims into his apartment for years, and almost nobody ever came back out. But one man walked inside that apartment and instantly realized something was horribly wrong. In 1991, Dahmer met a man named Tracy Edwards and offered him money to come back to his apartment for drinks and photos. At first, it sounded harmless. But the moment Edwards entered the room, the atmosphere felt terrifying. There was a strange smell in the apartment, disturbing pictures near the bed, and Dahmer suddenly started acting nervous and aggressive. Then Dahmer pulled out handcuffs and quietly told Edwards he planned to keep him there. Most people would completely panic at that moment, but Tracy Edwards did something smarter. He stayed calm. Even though he believed he was about to die, he pretended to cooperate while secretly waiting for one tiny chance to escape. For hours, Dahmer followed him around the apartment while acting more unstable every minute. Edwards later said he could feel that something evil was hiding inside that room. Then finally, Dahmer looked away for a split second, and Edwards exploded into action. He punched Dahmer hard, unlocked himself, and sprinted barefoot out of the apartment straight into the street. Seconds later, he found police officers and begged them to follow him back inside. Officers originally thought it was just a normal argument, until they opened a drawer beside Dahmer's bed. Inside were horrifying photographs that instantly exposed one of the worst serial killers in American history. Jeffrey Dahmer believed every victim entering that apartment was already trapped. But Tracy Edwards became the one victim who stayed calm long enough to escape, and accidentally ended the nightmare forever. John Wayne Gacy, one teenager, accidentally exposed one of America's most horrifying serial killers by escaping a single pair of handcuffs. John Wayne Gacy looked completely normal from the outside. He entertained children as a clown, talked politely with neighbors, and even attended community events. Nobody imagined the man smiling in public was secretly hiding bodies under his own house. For years, Gacy targeted young men and convinced many of them to trust him before trapping them inside his home. But eventually, he chose the wrong victim. In 1978, a teenager named Robert Piest met Gacy after work because Gacy offered him a better-paying construction job. It sounded like a normal opportunity. But after Robert left to meet him, he never returned home. His family immediately reported him missing, and police started questioning Gacy. At first, Gacy acted calm and confident. He joked with investigators, smiled during conversations, and believed he could manipulate everyone around him the same way he manipulated previous victims. But this time, things started falling apart fast. While police investigated Gacy, another young man came forward with a terrifying story. He explained that Gacy once invited him into his house, suddenly handcuffed him, and told him nobody escaped his magic trick. But unlike previous victims, this man stayed calm long enough to break free and escape alive. That survivor's story became one of the biggest reasons police kept watching Gacy closely, instead of believing his lies. Then investigators noticed something disturbing. A horrible smell kept coming from Gacy's house. Soon police searched the property and discovered human remains hidden beneath the floorboards. What they found shocked the entire country. Gacy had spent years believing nobody would ever stop him, because fear and manipulation always worked in his favor. But one escaped victim, one missing teenager, and one investigation completely destroyed the fake mask he built around himself. The scariest part is how normal Gacy looked before getting caught. Neighbors saw a friendly clown. Families saw a helpful businessman. But behind closed doors, he was hiding one of the darkest secrets in criminal history. And in the end, it only took one survivor and one wrong victim to expose everything.